Welcome to the Executive Coach Podcast. I'm Maya Goodker, and this is the podcast where we move from box-ticking busyness to designing spacious and exciting work lives. Now, we've talked a fair amount about mornings on the podcast. I've done at least a couple of episodes on gorgeous morning routines and then a more updated one recently. But of course, great mornings start the night before. And whilst I personally haven't always had the most consistent evening routines, I've noticed that there are certain things that I am doing fairly regularly and feel worthy of being able to put into some sort of an evening routine. And I love this phrase, power down hour, that I picked up from JJ Virgin. She has a podcast all about fitness over the age of 40. And I love the idea that you sort of start to take down a notch your energy and the lighting and everything to really set you up for a great night's sleep, which we know is essential to all of the good things that we're probably trying to do from a well-being perspective. So here are some things that I am regular about: shower or bath and stretch. So depending on whether it's like a warm summer evening, then I'm not really feeling a bath, then I'll take a shower. But I like one of those more just because it creates a bit of a switch off feeling, and it also makes me feel much readier then to do some stretches, especially after a bath. The stretches work really well. And instead of making it feel like overwhelming, I just say just do one stretch or maybe two. Once I've done a couple, I typically want to do more because it's just so relaxing and they're on the floor, and you just start to feel really relaxed. And you can pick one of those stretches that you can just kind of hang out in for a while. So that is the first bit, a little bit of stretching, but just not very much, because I think anything that feels like overly elaborate is going to be off-putting at that time of day. My kids go to bed later now, so I don't feel that I have huge amounts of time in the evening to myself, even though I kind of enjoy hanging around with them in the evenings. I feel like we're all kind of getting ready for bed at similar times if I'm not out. Next one is, we've heard this so many times, haven't we? How to reduce your screen time before bed. Now, all I'm going to say here is that I found the ClearSpace app after hearing about it on the Gold Digger podcast, and it's the only thing that has enabled me to reduce my WhatsApp use. It forces you to pause and take a few deep breaths before you enter the specific apps that you're trying to use less. And that's brilliant, because my real issue has been WhatsApp. The other apps I can delete. Or let's say in the evening, I want to perhaps put some music on, or I want to listen to a relaxing audiobook or podcast. But by opening my phone, I open myself up to other distractions and I can go off on a tangent. Now the beauty is that I can use my phone if I need to, but I don't have access to those apps, or I have a much better barrier in place to getting lost in that distracted way that we can, particularly at the end of the day when we're more tired and we're more prone to distraction. So I first got the free trial, but then I've ended up paying for it. It's worth every penny. It has saved me so much time, and it's just made me finally so much more mindful in my phone use when it comes to WhatsApp, which was my real bugbear. Okay, this is something that I basically don't go to sleep without doing, and that is I have a page a day journal, and I have it here because it also has all my work lists in it. But before I go to sleep, I answer the question, what made today special? I started doing this in the summer, and I really found it to be a lovely take on the usual gratitude journaling. It's just helped me capture those tiny moments and memories, or bigger things as well. And then I will often then add a few wins of the day, like things that have gone well, things that I'm proud of. It's such a satisfying way to close the day. While I am there, I do end up doing my list stuff for the next day. Now, this part I think is mixed. I can get a little bit lost in my planning at that hour. And I can then find myself getting into a little bit of a hyped stage as I start thinking things through. But then I also do get some of my best ideas then, because I'm kind of like in that quite calm, relaxed state. And so I find it to be quite a useful planning time. I just need to make sure I'm not doing that too late. One step that I've added recently is pre-planning my protein for the next day. When I'm sort of on the case, I can just about manage to meet my protein goals, but then I just get tired and bored. But what I found is if I plan it from the day before, it's so much easier. And I can just do that little bit of mental calculation as to what I have around that is going to help me meet those goals. The other thing that I've become diligent about, I was terrible about this before, was just that little bit of setup for the next day. So I just make sure that I have found my Bluetooth headphones. They could be anywhere. I'm not very good about where I leave them. I've got slightly better, but I make sure that they're back in their home and they're charging. Similarly, put the phone somewhere else to charge and laptop. I also get a massive water jug and fill that up. So that's by my bedside. And I did quite a deep clear out of my wardrobe in the summer. So it's a lot easier to tidy up now. It's not an overwhelming space anymore. And so actually, if I give myself 60 seconds, I can do quite a good little tidy up before bed. If I give myself another 60 seconds, I can tidy up my little dressing table, which can get a bit cluttered. And so suddenly in 2 minutes, I can have a pretty good tidy up. I know it's one of these things that if I stay on top of it, it's really easy. As it starts to accumulate, it gets worse, but it does give you that kind of really superficial feeling of calm before bed. So there's all the usual brushing teeth and washing face. I don't have an elaborate skincare routine. I used to be pretty religious about magnesium, but actually I have started to take it only at certain times of the cycle, just because I'm aware of the amount of supplements that potentially you could be taking at any one time. And I just feel like there are times when I don't want to be so reliant on supplements. I then also have my mouth tape and my eye mask, and this is not something that I manage every day, but I do try and read something that is in a physical form, whether it is just the week magazine or it's a book. It's something that I like to have near me. And when my bedtime is overlapping with the kids' bedtime, I also kind of want them to see me with a physical book in my hand. And what I've noticed is that if they see me doing that because they're still awake, they'll sometimes come over and they'll read over my shoulder. They're really curious. So I kind of just want to role model that a little bit more. They're very good about reading before bed. And so I just feel like if they can do it, so can I. So that's what's working for me right now. Definitely not perfect. You can see some areas where I would like it to be slightly different. Oh, the final thing I wanted to say is that since listening to JJ Virgin talk about the power down, I am more mindful of the lighting. So I do, in that power down hour, I do try and shift it from that brighter overhead lighting to that more dim light, because apparently that makes a huge difference as well. So I just wanted to share where I am with mine, and I do think this sets me up pretty well for the next day. And without being elaborate, I'm not one of these disciplined people that can just stick to like fancy routines month after month. So this is what's working for me right now. Hopefully that gives you some idea. Let me know any lovely things that you've got going on in yours. And I hope that was helpful. I look forward to connecting with you next time. Bye-bye.